The summit reinforced my belief that while difficult, peace is within reach, and I believe that in a very significant...
Welcome back to Brian Post, where we cover the world so you don't have to, and let's be honest, it's already a dumpster fire. Tonight's headlines. Zelensky lands in D.C. with Europe's top leaders to convince Trump that security guarantees are sexy, NATO membership not included. Israel and Hamas agreed to a ceasefire, proving humans will always try, fail, and then try again. India's Jaishankar heads to Moscow because energy and strategic ambiguity never go out of style. Zelensky secures arms and promises because apparently diplomacy now comes with free firepower. Hurricane Erin pounds the East Coast, reminding Americans that Mother Nature doesn't care about your weekend plans. So grab a drink, sit back, and let's navigate the chaos together. And speaking of chaos that might actually work, let's see what Europe and the US are throwing at Ukraine next. Story 1. Zelensky meets Trump with European babysitters. So, Volodymyr Zelensky is apparently upgrading from begging NATO to meeting Trump in person. And because this is 2025, the meeting isn't just the two of them. Oh no, Europe's top leaders are tagging along like helicopter parents watching their kid play in traffic. Zelensky's goal? Secure promises that Trump won't abandon Ukraine like an old gym membership. Trump's goal? Probably to remind everyone he's the main character of reality. I mean, let's be real, this summit looks less like a peace negotiation and more like an awkward family dinner where everyone's pretending not to hate each other. And speaking of pretending to play nice, let's check in on the Middle East, where the word ceasefire has the lifespan of a mayfly. Israel-Hamas Ceasefire deal. Yes, Israel and Hamas have agreed on a ceasefire again, which in news translation means everyone's reloading while diplomats high-five themselves. The deal supposedly involves a pause in fighting, hostage exchanges, and aid delivery. Sounds good, right? Except, we've seen this before. It's like when your ex swears they've changed. Sure, maybe for a week, but give it time and the missiles start flying again. Meanwhile, ordinary civilians are just praying that this ceasefire lasts longer than the shelf life of supermarket sushi. Now, from rockets to vodka shots, because India decided to check in on their old pal Russia. India's Jaishankar in Moscow. India's foreign minister, Subramaniam Jaishankar, is in Moscow, cozying up with the Russians. Officially, it's about trade, energy, and strengthening ties. Unofficially, it's India making sure it gets cheap oil while the West is busy sending angry emails about democracy. And the photo ops? Beautiful. Smiles, handshakes, promises of friendship. It's basically Tinder, but for countries that can't quit each other. Meanwhile, the U.S. watches nervously, like someone who realizes their ex is thriving without them. And speaking of awkward, wait until you hear what Zelensky managed to snag after all this globetrotting. Spoiler, it's weapons and promises, because of course it is. Zelensky secures arms and security promises. So after Zelensky finishes his Please Don't Ghost Me tour, what does he walk away with? Surprise, surprise, more weapons and a couple of vague security promises. European leaders are patting themselves on the back like they just invented peace, while Trump is already tweeting that he personally solved everything with one meeting and a golf metaphor. But here's the thing. Security promises from politicians are like free samples at Costco. They sound great in the moment, but they vanish the second you leave the building. And Zelensky knows it. He's basically juggling chainsaws, praying someone will actually keep their word. Spoiler, they won't. And while world leaders play Monopoly with tanks, nature decided to flip the table in the U.S. with something called Hurricane Erin. Because apparently we haven't had enough disasters. Hurricane Erin smacks the U.S. Hurricane Erin tore through parts of the East Coast, flooding streets, knocking out power, and reminding everyone that Mother Nature doesn't give a damn about your weekend plans. Officials are scrambling to look competent on TV, telling residents to stay safe while standing in front of a blown-over stop sign. Meanwhile, everyday people are out there wading through waist-high water, filming TikToks, and wondering why FEMA always shows up slower than your Uber Eats driver. Insurance companies already sharpening their pencils to explain why this particular flood damage isn't covered. Because nothing says American dream like paying premiums for 20 years only to be told, sorry, that was technically wind water, not flood water. So to recap, Zelensky's collecting promises like Pokemon cards, Israel and Hamas are on their 87th ceasefire attempt, India is cuddling up with Russia, and America is getting slapped around by Hurricane Erin. But hey, at least you have me, your loyal, drunk philosopher dog, to keep you updated while the world burns. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your favorite disaster in the comments.